everyone, and you're very welcome to the latest edition of Ruby Slippers Theater's Theater and Multicultural Perspective series of one-on-one interviews with female creatives of color. I am Grace Chin, the General Manager of Ruby Slippers Theater, and we're very proud to have with us today Veenesh Dubois. She is a Fijian Indo Canadian actor, playwright, and podcaster who lives and works internationally. Welcome, Veenesh.
Thank you, Grace. Thanks for having me.
It is an honor and a pleasure. Veenesh and I have actually known each other for a little while, like off and on over the years. So it's great to be able to do this. Before we get started, I would like to acknowledge that Ruby Slippers Theater operates on the unceded traditional territories of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish nations. And Veenesh, did you want to add to the land acknowledgement?
Yes, I am in the Hudson Valley in New York State, and I am privileged and thankful and honored to be on the Mohican and the Munsee Native American tribes. And just, you know, I feel the people around me. I'm just so grateful.
In terms of your experience in the industry, I believe it spans like 20 plus years of work, both on stage and in television, and also more recently voiceover. And as I understand, you've recently started your own podcast, the Reluctant Expat, related to expatriate life. And you've lived internationally, Japan, Korea, New York, Hong Kong.
Yeah.
As well. But you managed to find some time in 2019 to come back to Vancouver, British Columbia, where Ruby Slippers is situated, and to participate in All's Well That Ends Well at our local Shakespeare Festival, Bard on the Beach, and for which you received a Jessie Richardson Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress.
Wow. Yes.
Congratulations on that nomination.
We're all caught up.
well, almost. I'd also just like to put in like a little mention that in 2009, you actually wrote and starred in your own solo piece, Under the Mango Tree, that debuted at the Vancouver Fringe Festival, and I believe it toured nationally as well as internationally.
Yeah. Been a busy girl.
You know, it never hurts to be busy. Busy is always better than bored.
Yeah, absolutely, Grace.
And in that span of time, I mean, that certainly must give you perspective, and also in terms of the intersectionality of stage, film, and the voiceover world, podcasting voiceover world, in terms of your lived experience of racism. Is there anything that that stands out for you in a good way or a bad way that you would like to share with us today?
Well, you say lived, Grace, and I say living, because not a lot has changed. We're seeing micro changes, which I am very, very grateful that it is happening. The shift is beginning. It started a while ago, but now the momentum is growing, which I'm so thankful for us and for the younger generation that's coming up, that's getting into the film and the stage and the podcast, everything, the world, that there is more conversation now, which is just, it's incredible. I've been living abroad for about over 6 years now, and we think about North America and the BIPOC community and it changing. Well, it's all over. It's international. In Seoul, South Korea, Caucasian parts are always there, and in breakdowns. And I'm talking generally now, in breakdowns, what I've noticed before was that it would be Caucasian, 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 Black or Asian, or, and it's like, why are we lucky enough to have 3 parts in there that we can draw from? Why can we not have more of that? So, and in Seoul, same thing. I mean, I'll get sides come out or breakdowns come out, and they'll be just Caucasian. And I remember working in Seoul, doing a bank commercial. And the only reason why I got hired is because they thought I looked like Oprah Winfrey. Like,
well, you'll take it.
yeah, I took it, but it's really hard, and it's just not happening in North America. So it's all over. So I think that we need to change the world.
I hear you on that.
So getting back to Vancouver, where I first started acting, I remember walking into a room in, Shoreline Studios or Second Avenue Studios, but back in the day, or North Shore Studios North Shore Studios still is there. And, other actors would say, oh, you've got a good chance of getting a role on here because they're going diverse. They're going ethnic. It's like, how about they're just, how about I'm here as an actor just like you, and I'm auditioning for a part just like you. Why does it have to matter whether they're going diverse or not? So I was just, okay, fine. It's little things like that just, even before you go into the room, it just gets you.
For sure. And they feel they have to call it out. They feel they have to say that. It's like, oh yeah, you have a good chance because they're going diverse.
Yeah.
Why is there a need to mention that specific, even, as a thing? And once you get in the room, like, do you find that there's a difference in how you're treated?
Well, it's so funny you say that, because a lot of the angst I have for auditioning for projects stems from being in the room and being hurry up, not take your time. I mean, don't we know that together, when we work together, we're going to get the best actor? Not to, like, if you're making me feel comfortable in the room, then I'm going to deliver a really nice performance. But if I feel like you just want to get me out of the room so that you have an actor that is your favorite, that books all the time through you, is going to be coming in next, you're going to be shooing me out of the room. So stuff like that is just really hard to take in, digest, and then to, pull your socks up and go back into the room again. So, but it is changing, which I'm really happy about.
In terms of how, well, say you do book it for whatever reason, right? Say you do, and you actually get on set. Do you find that the comments continue, or that the comments stop? In other words, do people keep making reference to the fact that, oh yeah, like they definitely wanted diversity on this episode, or things like that?
Well, there's been positive experiences, and then I can't leave that out, because there's been some amazing production companies that I've worked with, but there have been negatives, like there's a lot of color on set. Really, what color is that? But it's really hard to say, Grace, but I've kind of accepted it, and kind of was like, okay, this is, without making noise, because you think if you're going to make noise, then you're not going to be back on set. If you're going to call things out, then you're not going to be back. So it's such a delicate balance. And you want to make the noise, which I am now more and more of. But back in the day, when you're first getting started, when you first just really want to get the gig, you're willing to sacrifice a lot of what you really deep down feel inside your gut about, no, this is not right. No, I better speak up. So
for sure. Well, you've touched on the fact a few times now that things have changed for the better. Are there maybe like one or two things that you can pinpoint that have definitely changed for the better, either in terms of range of roles or how you're treated in a particular situation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've had makeup artists that I work with that are like just so happy that that I guess that they have opened it up to so many people, that they are seeing so many people of color and BIPOC people coming through, and they're really excited about it. So they're like, the change is happening and we feel it. And it's just so nice to hear that, because now it's almost like we're kind of in the same family now. You know, everybody's working together to make this production better, not like pinpointing what they don't want, what they do want, what color they want, what, you know, like what race and all that. So yeah, so that's a really nice, welcome, fresh change.
And also to ask, like, whether you've seen a similar shift in terms of, you know, either literally the breakdowns that you're seeing, you know, or what you're going out for. Are you seeing like a greater range of roles that we're being allowed to be seen for than in the past?
Absolutely. I mean, now you're seeing a white man with a brown woman, or a white man with an Asian woman, or, you know, like anyone from the BIPOC community. It's like you're seeing that open up, which is so nice. And you see commercials now, which is like huge, because back in the day, White Spot commercial would never have a female, like a BIPOC female lead, never, because we were just not relatable. I mean, how many times did I have to flat iron my hair because I look too ethnic like this? And I needed to flat iron it to be more relatable. And it's like, forget it. I'm wearing my hair the way it is. It's really tight and curly. And, you know, I'm married to a Canadian guy. So this is real life. I've got a daughter who's, you know, like mixed race daughter. And this is real life. So come on, people. Restaurants need to open up and say, okay, you know, like everyone comes here, not just white people, but everyone. So we need, you know, breakdowns are being more inclusive. They need to be way more.
So I don't know if in your experience you found that that being a woman and a woman of color and a woman creative of color, whether there's been any difference that you felt in terms of how you were treated. Or
I believe that men of color get more parts than women of color. But racism and sexism, oh, I mean, I've been called the wild card. You know, you're lucky to go out for a hooker number 3. You're, you know, it's like, it's always like the scientist, but never really seen for the lead character, because a brown woman can't become a lead character in a series. So I've seen that, and it's like, come on, guys. I mean, you know what it's like, Grace. You go to an audition, you do your thing, and then you leave. And then there are times where you're like, well, what can I do to change this? Like, what is the change going to happen? And I guess the change is within us. We need to start speaking up and dig deeper. I mean, part of the reason why I created Mango Tree in 2009 is because I was going to auditions a lot, but they were like for one-liners. And you know, I could take classes after classes after classes, but the one-liners just kept coming, and I was doing the one-liners. And then I just got tired of it. I was like, okay, if I'm not going to get the lead role, then I'm going to create my own lead role. So I went off and I wrote my play. And I had no idea how to even write a play or a one-person show. I was never even really in a one-person show before. So I did it because there was that fire burning in my gut, because I was like, I've had enough. So I created it, presented it to the Vancouver Fringe Festival, won the Best of Fest. And then with that, I was able to tour it all over Canada, took it to the Los Angeles Women's Theatre Festival, was asked by them to bring it there, and then performed it in Japan. And I was like, okay, this fills me. The one-liners just didn't fill me. I mean, yes, I get it. I'll still go out for them, but it wasn't filling my soul. So I had to create something to fill my soul.
And you seem to also feel, as I do, that in the past 10 years, there has been much more much more work by and for women that's out there. Uh, to what do you attribute this change? Like, what are the reasons for why women may have started to feel more empowered and may have started to step out more?
I think, there are women that look at, like you and I, that have gone off and created. And hey, if they can do it, and they're hearing more inspiring stories of women that are out there, that are making the changes, that are taking leaps of faith, that are risking a lot to get there. I mean, it's safe, Grace. Wouldn't you agree that it's safer to sit at home and wait for your agent to call you and tell you that you have an audition, rather than you sitting up at night creating something or collaborating with someone? It's a big leap of faith. You're spending money, you're spending time while you're still holding down your job, you're looking after your children, keeping a marriage together. All that takes a lot of work. And we get lazy because we just want the phone to ring. It didn't ring for me for a long time. That's why it just, lit a fire under my butt and said, okay, get out there and go do it, because nobody's going to hand it to you on a silver platter.
And in terms of what, say producers can do, or maybe the Directors Guild or UBCP, so the various unions and, and the various theater companies, in terms of what they can do to help us, right? And or to dismantle, the very systemic, entrenched, sometimes even often very subconscious, racism and sexism that's in there. You have like 20 plus years of experience overall in various different areas and, and platforms, like, can you give me 3 things that you think they can do to help us out?
Yeah, let's change the recipe. I mean, we need to make a different cake, because the cake we got today is not the cake that's working. We need to add funding to writers. We need to give grants to emerging filmmakers. We need grants coming to maybe high schoolers, like, that are graduating. What are they doing? Instead of just giving the money to Christmas movies that comes out every year, not to badmouth Christmas movies, but there are so many people out there that have these great stories that just need the funding. If we just keep turning around and giving it to the same people, we're not going to get the best stories that are out there. So fund more, give others an opportunity to, let their voices be heard. Because I think it was a fringe play, but look at Kim's Convenience, right? It was a French play, I believe, or it was a play that turned into that huge mega hit. And it's like, okay, give people the chance to prove that they've got something. And I think that we're going to be finding more great content coming through than, the fluff. Like, let's get the meat. Let's get the meat and the gravy and the potatoes and all that out, because once we start funding and believing and nurturing writers, BIPOC community, once we get that involved, then we're already seeing wonderful work come out. I think we're in the direction of seeing greatness, and there is lots already. So just give us the opportunity.
You're totally right. Like, Kim's Convenience did start off as a play, and then it was picked up and became a TV series. And In Choi, one of the showrunners, he is the playwright as well, and he helped showrun for all of for just about the entire its entire run. It was recently canceled for CBC's own reasons. Whatever, we'll let that pass, right? But interesting, because they built it and people came. People actually, it became a hit show.
Yeah.
And now, as you may know, Simu Liu, like one of the series regulars, is now in a Marvel film, Shang-Chi. So we're all getting there. I wanted to sort of ask as well, like because this is something which I've also often heard, like say you are a writer of color, a creative of color, you have a concept, you have a series Bible, you have a script. Say it gets optioned, or say somebody wants to produce it. What then often seems to happen, or certainly did in the past, I want your perspective on this, is yeah, this is great. We'll buy it for X number of dollars, we'll option it for X number of dollars, and we want the lead to be white. We now want the lead to be white. Or, we don't want the lead's, boyfriend, partner, love interest to be, say a Black person. We want it to be, whatever. And I'll just say that there are some, and it's not a judgment thing. I'll just say that there are some creatives of color that have agreed to do those things just to, get something made, get a foot in the door. Do you feel that it should be the producing company's responsibility, or the producer's responsibility, to be more conscious of the fact that the world is not all one color? And do you feel that the onus should be on them to be more inclusive off the bat?
Absolutely. I mean, it all begins with the story. I mean, it was written for a certain, Lulu Wang, I was just reading an article about when she made her movie with Aquafina about the young Chinese woman that goes back. I'm sorry, the name is just escaping me right now. But she fought because the producers wanted a white girl to play that, and she fought for Aquafina to play the part. And I just think that it's really hard because people are in different situations, different parts in their life where they write something and they just want it to get made and they need the money. And they're just going to do it because they've got other ideas. But I do believe that it is up to producers to open it up, to see who is the best person for the role, not just send out a breakdown with Caucasian. Let's just see who's right for it. Bring you into the room, Grace. Bring me into the room. Let's give everyone a chance to, at least see us. If you don't see us, then how do you know we're here?
Certainly. And also, if a role is written for a person of color, and it is specific to a story which is very rooted in, like a particular culture, why change it simply because you think that something else will be more acceptable, simply because maybe that's the way it's always been done, right?
Yeah. Well, I think conversations like this, Grace, is what is important. And the shift is happening. I mean, you can feel it, can't you? It's like, it's moving, the earth is moving, the shift is happening, which is really exciting to see. And I'm really excited to see what happens in the next 10 years. It's a new normal, but, maybe when we're sick, we don't go in to work, or we put on a mask. I mean, people when I first got to Japan 6 years ago, people were wearing masks in trains, and they were wearing masks in airports, and especially when they're sick. Like even in my husband's office, I'd go and have lunch with them, and in the office there would be some girls that would be wearing a mask. Like, oh, well, why are you supposed to wear masks? And then he's like, no, they're just not feeling well, so they're putting on a mask. Hello,
And why would that be a bad thing, right? So there could be lasting effects that are actually a really good thing, and so we can all look forward to things reopening, and with that sense of hope,
Absolutely. It's coming. Change is coming.
Change is coming. And on that note, thank you so much, Veenesh, for speaking with us. It's been an honor and a pleasure.
Thank you, Grace. Thanks for having me.
We really look forward to in future updates on what's happening with your play.
And if some of your guests would like to listen to my podcast, It's called The Reluctant Expat, and it's on Apple Podcast, Google Play, and Spotify.
It's fantastic, yeah. So if anyone wants to hear about the expatriate life and just like different experiences from people, in a myriad of professions from all around the world, and this is what you would do, and also like definitely keep us updated on your play. Thank you, and I hope you have a great one in New York.
Thank you.
Thank you.